I got you. All right, let me.
like his or whatever.
Yeah. Well, he's of course not here right now. Oh shit! We just the feed is going intermittent. Um, I'm looking at the thing, and it's like
tighten the view.
I got
The view's too wide.
All right, bro. All right, man. How's that?
I don't know yet.
Hold on.
There we go.
You good? You like that?
Get the equipment out. Just leave the frame.
Hold on, man.
Get the equipment out and just leave it to the frame where the Merino is. Take out all the equipment. Oh, yes! We are ready to rock and roll. We are in studio today. We got a loaded show today. There we go. Now we got it going on. Welcome aboard.
I only got 2 hands, man.
Yeah, well, you need more than that, obviously. Anyway, we are in studio, yes. You can see my Merino Kozar picture in the back, which is a beautiful thing. One day I will give you a tour of the inside studio. Not today. We will not give you a tour of the inside studio. But you got a little view there. You can see some Spider-Man stuff, some Star Wars. You see a TIE Fighter. You see a little Millennium Falcon, all that good stuff. A little Inter Miami logo back there, all that. I can see it on the view. Anyway, welcome aboard. We are going to have some fun here over the next couple of hours on the show. It's Panther Day today because the Panthers are starting up. George Richards is going to join us at 1:40. He covers the Panthers for The Athletic. He's been covering the Panthers for a long, long time. And he's in Tampa, which I am jealous because let me tell you something. I would love to get in the car right now and drive over to that arena and go watch the Panthers and the Lightning tonight. That would be really, really cool. Anyway, you just heard there from Brian Flores, the head coach of your Miami Dolphins. And like I told you, we got a loaded show. First of all, Anthony Chang is going to stop by at 1 o'clock. We'll talk all things Miami Heat with him. He covers the Heat for the Miami Herald. George Richards is going to stop by at 1:40, talking a little Panthers. This is a huge season for the Panthers, okay? The owners cannot do any more than what they've done. They have drafted, they have spent, they have extended everybody. They now went and got a Hall of Fame coach, and they got one of the best goalies in the world. Okay, a guy that you're probably going to get easy 3, 4, 5 years of elite play from him. He's 31, and goalies go into 36, 38 years old. So you should get a lot of, this is a nice window, plus you've got the young buck coming up that he gets to learn from Bobrovsky. So everything is kind of set up for the Panthers to make themselves a nice little run here in this season and start to win that fan base back over again and get that craze that we had going on back in the day for the Panthers. And I think it will happen this year. I think finally it will happen this year. So George Richards will stop by at 1:40. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have Matt Shodell on from Kane Sport. And Manny Navarro broke a story, and we have Manny on every Tuesday, by the way, for his Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. And Manny broke a story about Lorenzo Lingard, the 5-star recruit, who, by the way, could be transferring. And so his family says he's unhappy and that he may end up going to the portal, the transfer portal. And this is one of those situations that I got to tell you, if you're Manny Diaz, you need to resolve in a big time way. Okay, this is a really touchy situation. You got a 5-star recruit, the only recruit that you had that was 5-star back in 2018. Okay, so you're talking about a guy that I mean, this is something that you desperately need, right? And you've been talking about that's kind of been the theme that you're not getting 4 and 5 stars. So now the 5-star you do have, you're not keeping him happy. Mind you, Lorenzo Lingard was recruited by Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Texas.
Every big boy on the block.
Yeah. So that tells you that there'll be a line of people in that transfer portal ready to sign him. So this is one of those things where Manny has to tread lightly here, and he's got to handle this the right way. Now, there are questions I've got to ask, and we'll ask Matt Shodell those questions, okay? And by the way, if you have questions or comments or insults or compliments, whatever it is about the podcast, and thank you so much for your support. It has been amazing. You can always reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105, as always. And we appreciate those of you that watch and those of you that are always tuning in and listening on SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, whatever, all those, Google Plays, Stitcher, however it is that you support us. We definitely appreciate that in a big time way.
It would appear that we're on Facebook.
Yes, yes, no doubt. Looking good, Big O. Bill, the sound is a little low on Periscope app. So there you go. So apparently it's low on the app. We always do that. Somehow or another we don't figure out the online stuff, and it's hard on that one. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done one way or another. But I'm sorry that we are having that issue that is low on the internet. But we'll try to see if we can raise it up a little bit and give you guys a little better or a little louder sound there on the internet. So appreciate you guys telling us about that too. Of course, if you're going to at least tune in. Let me see. I got it up here. Let me see how it is. If I'm watching it here, I always have it so I can know if we're on or not. Yeah, it is low. Yeah, it's very low. It's low. You can hear it, but it's not like terrible. It's not like you can't hear it at all. If you crank it up, you're going to be able to hear it, but it is low. Yeah, you'd like it a little louder when you crank it up. I got you.
Hold on.
I got you. So Bill is working on that. We'll try to get that in there, and we appreciate you guys always keeping us, in line there on that one. So we got the Panthers tonight at 7. Jimmy Butler's going to miss the game.
Why? Why?
Jimmy Butler goes to sleep at 6:30 in the evenings. So that's why he wakes up at 3:30. I mean, how do you go to sleep at 6:30?
Are you saying we need to reschedule our games for like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning?
No, you got
Act like we're West Coast?
No, you got to schedule them for 3 in the afternoon so Jimmy Butler can watch them. No, seriously. I mean, the man's going to sleep at 6:30 in the evening, 7 o'clock. That's why he was up at 3:30. I could do the same thing, but that would be really boring getting up at 3:30 or 4. A cop would pull you over and then say, "Wait a minute, how come you're the only one straight on the road right now? I'm used to pulling people over at 3:30 in the morning." What did I do, officer? Am I speeding?
I
You don't even have your lights on. What are lights?
I wasn't doing anything
Isn't
wrong.
it daytime? So, that's usually what they're waiting for, right? But in this case, Jimmy Butler's like, electric at 3:30 in the morning. How do you go to sleep so early at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night? There's no way.
That's earlier than babies go to sleep, okay?
Yeah.
Babies go to bed about 7, 8, 9 o'clock.
We
okay?
actually trained Katie to go to sleep like around 9 or 10 because we would keep playing with her and make her stay up. And then that way she would sleep through the night. That's how we did it.
My sister with my nieces and nephews would make sure that they blared the TV, the radio, made lots of noise so they get used to it so that when you do have loud noises, it doesn't wake the baby.
Oh, yeah. So my daughter's become a night person just like me. So she likes to stay up, and I guess we probably instilled that early on by as a kid she was up till 8 or 9 o'clock. But it was genius, man, because we would be able to sleep throughout the night, which was key. So all I would say is that if you're a parent and you don't let your kid fall asleep at 6 or 7, then don't bitch while you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Okay, there's a reason why you're up at 2 or 3 in the morning is you let your kid go to sleep too early. Keep them up, let them play a little bit. Let them go to sleep at 8 or 9 o'clock, and you'll see how you'll sleep a little bit more into the night, into the morning, which is, trust me, a beautiful thing. But anyway, looking forward to a little heat season. We got that right around the corner. Nothing big. We talked a little heat yesterday, but we'll have Anthony Chang on today, so we'll talk about the early riser. We'll see. We'll find out who wakes up earlier, Jimmy Butler or Anthony Chang. Because see, now we got to talk to Anthony about this. Now the pressure's on Anthony. Yeah, he's the beat writer, right? He's got to cover the team. Well, if he's going to cover the team, Jimmy Butler is there at 3:34 in the morning. Well, then, Anthony Chang's going to have to start getting there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We got to talk to him. Because if he's not doing that, then he's slacking. So we got to talk to Anthony Chang about that. All right? So we'll do that, and we'll do that at 1 o'clock with Anthony Chang. We'll have a little fun there. They got the bye week going on for the Miami Dolphins, and so they're practicing, obviously. The coach addressed the media. You just heard some of the comments to open up the show. They'll enjoy the week off, then they'll take on the Redskins the following week. The Redskins, by the way, are having a lot of fun this week because they get to take on the Patriots. So they're going to get their asses handed to them in this game in a big-time way. And the thing about it for us Dolphins fans is, listen, I didn't think they would win a game, but they actually have a shot at winning against the Washington Redskins. Although I saw something really humorous from the Redskins yesterday. Jay Gruden says that he doesn't have an answer right now on who the starting quarterback is. Whether it's Case Keenum, who's in a boot still, which I doubt. All right, Case Keenum can barely move as it is. He's not a really good athlete. And now he's in a boot. Safe to say he's really not the guy that's going to play. So now they're down to the rookie Dwayne Haskins or Colt McCoy. And I would think that to start Dwayne Haskins, who threw 3 interceptions, looked completely lost, and that's why they didn't want to start him in the first place, because Jay Gruden knows what's coming, that it's automatically getting fired because you drafted a guy that's not ready yet. So they want to bring him along slowly, right? And so now they're saying that they have no idea who the starter is. The funny part, the part I find humorous about all of this, look, I don't want to make fun of Case Keenum injury or even that Dwayne Haskins is a young quarterback and Colt McCoy's a jag and all that stuff. Forget about that. But it's just funny that it's really not because they're trying to get a competitive advantage. Okay? It's funny because Jay Gruden legitimately doesn't know what the hell to do. Because it's clear that the Dwayne Haskins thing came from above, like it normally does in that team. Dan Snyder. Well, you drafted the kid, get him out there. That's your fault. You got to get him ready. So if Dwayne's not ready, he's going to blame Jay Gruden for that. And you really can't blame Jay Gruden for that. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. And this is why we talked about this earlier in the week. This is why Washington is Washington. Because Dan Snyder is a terrible owner, a meddling owner. And he's probably the one that said, no, you got to get Dwayne Haskins in there. And then they got him in there this past week, and he threw 3 interceptions. They threw 4 as a team because Case Keenum had already thrown 1. Now, you're definitely not trying to get a competitive advantage because there is no way in hell that the Patriots are wondering who's starting. They really don't care. Case Keenum can't beat them, Dwayne Haskins can't beat them, and Colt McCoy is certainly not going to beat them. So it's clearly, this is not one of those things that Jay Gruden thinks he's going to get some kind of an advantage on the New England Patriots. This is legitimate that they have no idea what the hell they're doing because the coach there doesn't necessarily have all the power. So he may say, well, we're going to start Colt. And Snyder on Thursday or Friday says, no. You're going to start Haskins. You're going to put the kid out there. We drafted him. Let's play him out for the rest of the year. Let's find out what we have. After all, they're 0-4. So it's not like the Skins are going anywhere. They are going to be challenging Miami for that #1 pick. Here's the thing about all of that. When we talk about those teams that are struggling, right? And they are on challenging Miami, the Jets, the Bengals, the Browns, the Skins, the Cards. Well, the Broncos, I'm sorry, not Browns. The Skins, the Cards. What's their excuse? Because they're not tanking. At least Miami has every excuse in the world. Okay? Every single one. They planned this. They systematically tore down their team, got rid of all the bad salaries, got rid of a lot of veterans, most of the veterans, because they want to get young guys in here. They want to start finding guys for the future. That's what they're doing. That's why it's so young, because they are just trying to find foundational pieces. That's what this season, next season is all about, drafting, developing, and creating foundational pieces. So because you're so young, you've got every excuse in the world. Everybody knew they were going to suck. It wasn't like this was something that's shocking anybody. Maybe a couple of you blind ass fans that you thought they would win 6 or 8 games or something. But more often than not, I think most of us expected them to lose and lose big. And that's exactly what they're doing. What is the excuse for all those other teams? Because Washington's starting Case Keenum because they thought they could win something, right? And I'm forgetting now the head coach in Cincinnati, Zach Taylor.
The Ram, yeah, the ex-Ram guy.
Well, ex-Dolphins. He was a QB coach here. And Zach Taylor and Andy Dalton were supposed to, it was supposed to be the best thing for Andy Dalton to bring in Zach Taylor and the new look NFL and yada, 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 all that crap. That hasn't worked out. And that's the thing that I trip out on. What's their excuses? Miami has a legitimate excuse to struggle, a legitimate excuse if they lose all the games. Everybody knows that they've taken away most of the talent from the team. And the guys that are talented are really green and young, most of them. X is not a green player anymore. X is a hell of a player. But there aren't a lot of those on this team. In fact, he may be the only one left now. So that's where Miami gets the free pass because they planned to be like this. It's the excuse for all those other teams. And that's where, at least for me, I start to see the progress that they're making. And I get excited, at least, that now I'm seeing that maybe there's something in the coaching staff too. Because that's what's important also for me. Not just to find out, okay, Chris Greer, what are you drafting? What would you bring in into the team? Is can these coaches actually develop the players that you bring in? Do they understand their strengths and weaknesses? That's the other thing. Because the late Tony Sperano frustrated most of us because he used Reggie Bush as a running back instead of a wide receiver. And it was, wasn't smart. And you look at what's going on with Raekwon McMillan, well, they found a role for him. A guy that they didn't feel was a starter in their system, because when they start the 2 backers instead on a lot of downs, okay, they felt Egwan and Baker were the better options. So Raekwon was on the outside looking in, coming back from the injury, trying to get in shape, trying to get in football shape, trying to learn the defense, learn his responsibilities, and he's been able to overcome all of that, figure all of it out, and now he's thriving. So the coaches get credit for that, don't they? Because Raekwon looked lost last year. Many, many times it was, I got to admit, it was kind of embarrassing to see what happened with him at times. Hitting the wrong hole, making the wrong read. Now you see him, he's anticipating what's coming, which is really cool. It shows you that mentally he is ahead of where he was last year. Just like Josh Rosen couldn't read the Mike linebacker, couldn't call protections. So that now he's calling the protections. Now he's, calling out the Mike linebacker. So he's actually getting, he's making progress too. So I'm just, it's one of those things that, you gotta kind of take it, pay attention, and look at the situation objectively. And let's look. I didn't like the way Flores handled the Kenny Stills Jay-Z situation. Okay, but that's not really coaching. That's more about communication and understanding and reaching your players. And clearly he's reaching a lot of players because they're all playing hard. But you're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to get along with everybody. That's just the way life is. We're not all compatible. And maybe Kenny Stills wasn't compatible with the situation. But it didn't really matter because Kenny Stills was at a point in his career where he was no longer useful for the future of the Miami Dolphins. So it was a perfect divorce, let's just say. And you know how I tell you that Miami systematically put themselves in this position to tear down their team and reset it, right? And what's the excuses for those other teams that suck? So when a Kenny Stills wants out, or a Minkah Fitzpatrick, they're changing the culture of the team, well then you probably are doing the right thing for your team long term, as long as what you're doing benefits your team. And the Minkah trade probably will, because Pittsburgh will probably, be really bad this year. I know some of you are overreacting because they played a bad team this week and beat them, which is, again, it's kind of like the Lamar Jackson people, right? They play the Cardinals and the Dolphins and light them up. And they overreact that Lamar's the greatest quarterback and they should have drafted him number 11. But then if you watch him the last 2 weeks, where he's been just Lamar Jackson, the mediocre passer that he is, great kid, phenomenal young man, I get all of that. He's a mediocre passer. He got really lucky 2 weeks ago, too. I mean, he threw up 2 pieces of crap that he got. It was basically he just threw it up and got lucky. Stuff that ends up as turnovers easily. But anyway, so he couldn't beat teams with his arms the last 2 weeks because he can't. You play Miami, Arizona, they got so many holes on their team, that's a whole different ballgame. But then I started looking around the league, right? And I can see a Kenny Stills not being happy here because of what's going on, the direction they're going in, the youth movement, all of that. Minkah, you would figure, hey, I could take advantage of this, become the guy. But no, Minkah wanted instant gratification. He wanted to be somewhere that he thought was a better situation than Miami right away. So, fine, Miami said, all right, yeah, we'll trade you, but under our terms. And they were able to get that kind of deal done. So, I understand where some players may not want to be a part of a rebuild over the next couple of years. Okay. Again, now I start looking at what's going on around the league and other places. How about the Vikings? Stephon Diggs apparently wants out also. And they don't want to trade him either. Because they're kind of, you got Thielen calling out Cousins. You got Stephon Diggs missing practice, no injury. So people are wondering what is going on now with the Vikings and Diggs. And the Vikings have a playoff caliber team. So it's crazy because Rick Spielman, you know, he had his issues here in Miami, and he and Wannstedt didn't necessarily get along. There was a power struggle between the two. He goes to Minnesota, then eventually takes over as the GM there, and he's done actually a fabulous job. Really, he has. Okay? Now, we can pick on a lot of things that went on down here, but he was in the middle of a power struggle with Wannstedt. So we have no idea how bad it was or what was his fault, what was Wannstedt's fault. What we do know is that it did not work between the two. And I remember that the power struggle was then won by Wannstedt in the end, and then he got all the power after. And so you look at it, you got Thielen calling out Cousins. Cousins, to his credit, saying, hey, Thielen's right, man. I could have hit him a couple times, and, you know, I looked at the tape, and I messed up. And at least to Kirk Cousins' credit, he's not pointing fingers at anybody else for making excuses for his screw-ups. But the ultimate screw-up, actually, goes to Rick Spielman. Because Rick has a playoff caliber team, okay? This is really loud in my ears, man. Really loud. Rick has a playoff caliber team, and he can't find a quarterback. And so you look at it, and so he can't find a quarterback, and he's got a team that is Super Bowl caliber. So what do? You better find that quarterback, because the window closes on you, and then you're done. And we saw, remember the Jets years ago with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez? They get to 2 AFC championship games. That's their window. And then it closed because you can't pay everybody. And then you start losing people. Window's going to start closing for Minnesota. That's why they gave Kirk Cousins that 3-year deal, and it was guaranteed. And it's become a monster mistake by Rick Spielman. Now, how screwed up is that? He's finding all the other talent, but he can't find a quarterback. He's built a pretty good defense, pretty damn good offense, really good weapons overall. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are not high round draft picks, and they're really impressive. But whether it's Teddy Bridgewater or now that you go out and spend this money on Kirk Cousins and give him all that guarantees, and you're finding out that Kirk Cousins is not a primetime player. Can we lower my headphones, please? So it's one of those things where you need to have that touch for everything. And here's a guy that's actually done a really good job, and yet he can't find the quarterback. And it's hard to say fire Rick Spielman, right, there in Minnesota, because overall he's built a pretty good team. And most guys in the league can't do this. You know what I mean? So most guys, it's one of those where, what's going on, man? This is weird now. It's really weird what's going on in my headsets now. Now it's kind of really low and muted. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so you look at this situation, and for Spielman, it's one where, okay, now it sounds normal. It's one where, man, he's got to be frustrated with all of this. And the owner, think about this, and the fan base. You're this close to a Super Bowl in Minnesota. I mean, really, you are just the Jags. I don't know if Minshew's the guy, and he's played well the last couple weeks, but we'll see if he can continue his hot roll. But that's one of those other teams that if you get the right quarterback in there, they're a Super Bowl caliber team. Tennessee Titans have had a pretty good team for the last couple of years. They don't have the quarterback. I don't know if they're Super Bowl caliber like Minnesota and the Jacksonville Jags are, those two teams are definitely Super Bowl caliber if they have the quarterback.
The money they spent on the quarterback position, though, they thought that was it.
Right.
When you spend that money on Bortles, which that was stupid. He had that one good playoff game. You know what I mean? That he played
You
decent.
talk about the Jags?
Yeah,
now?
the
Okay,
Jags.
Yes.
And Cousins. When you spend that kind of money, you think, hey, this is it. We got our piece. We're going.
Well,
We invested the money.
And now they spent it on Foles, which then got injured. But now we'll see if they ended up getting a break in Gardner Minshew and they found a diamond in the rough.
The kid looks serviceable, but he's not that Rodgers, like, hey, this guy's going to carry us,
He doesn't have to carry you. Not in Jacksonville. You don't have to carry. You have the running game. You have the defense. You have to facilitate, make some plays, get the ball to the playmakers. You only need 20 points on that team.
So you don't need a 40, 50-yard pass. You just need to move the chains.
Right.
Get that 10 or 12-yard,
You don't need to be a superstar quarterback in Jacksonville. All you got to do is get the ball to the playmakers. You don't have to carry them.
Don't make mistakes.
You got the kind of team, the kind of defense that will make it all happen. But you see some of these situations, right? Minnesota, like I told you, is definitely a playoff caliber team, a Super Bowl caliber team with the right quarterback. And you got Adam Thielen calling out the quarterback, and then I don't know what's going on with Diggs. Then you got Jacksonville, another team that if you're on that football team and you're a player, you got to feel pretty good about your squad, right? Overall, the quarterback situation is the one thing that's a question mark. And look at Jalen Ramsey. I don't know whatever disrespectful situation that he's talking about that happened, but he clearly wants out. And that's a good situation to be in right now. Jacksonville is one of those that if Minshew is the answer, and if Minshew can get you 17, 21 points per game, you're going to win 12 games in Jacksonville. Guaranteed you'll win 12 games in Jacksonville if you can get 17, 20 points, because you're not scoring over 20 points on that team too much this year. And it's just not going to happen. When they're coming in and they're balling, I mean, they lost their concentration last year and they were another team. But this year, they're balling out. But again, think about this, because be objective, right? Just focus on the negative, right? First of all, many players are asking to get traded out of Miami. It was one guy. One guy. That's it. Nobody else wanted to get traded. Nobody else is bitching. Nobody else is complaining. No one else has gone to the front office. Listen to me. No one has gone to the front office for a trade except one dude. And he's gone. So they've got to be doing something right in this process. Because overall, guys are buying into a difficult situation. Now, it's difficult for the few veterans that are here. It's not difficult for young guys. This is like we talked about 2 weeks ago in one of our segments. Opportunities, man. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. And they're going to take advantage of it. That's all. That's the way you do it. And that's why you start to look at it and you see these other teams that they are right there. You know how frustrating it would be? Think about us as Dolphin fans. The team is a Super Bowl caliber team, and then you've got players that may want out. That's disturbing. That sucks. So that's the part where, it's
not just a good guy on your team, one of the best receivers in the whole league, Diggs. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, how do you replace that guy?
Ramsey's one of the best corners
Yeah.
in the league.
How do you replace those guys? You don't. Yeah.
You don't, and it's hard to get the trade value back. Usually in the same breath, it's hard to just get that same guy back.
Well, these guys go and undermine the team. Like the fact that they want to get out, they know that you've lost leverage right there.
But again, look at those situations, and Miami has the excuse. They're legitimately resetting and rebuilding their team. Okay? Notice how I never use the T word for Miami, because it's not that. Marlins. They own that. In fact, they should trademark it. In fact, they should buy a tank and put it outside in front of the stadium just to remind people of who they are, every single day. Because that, my friends, is tanking every single year. All right, let's get a quick break here. Let's hear from our fantastic sponsors, which I hope you're supporting our sponsors because they support our podcast. They help us make it happen every day, just like you do, by listening, by viewing, by downloading. And thank you very much. And we're going to work on a new episode of the Sound Check too, later on this week or tomorrow probably. I'll probably have one. So we will also be posting that. Looking forward to doing a little more Sound Check. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. And we got to get into a little bit of somebody that is dirty. You thought he was dirty. And if you didn't, well, then use a fool. That's next.
Hey. Oh. Oh. Is that Brandon Marshall? Who's the
No, it's LeVar Ball. It's not Sound.
LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
What did he do now?
He embezzled apparently from his kid. But it's shady because it's the guy they're suing is suing him, but he's got some stuff that it could be. He's got
legit.
proof.
Could be legit. Dude, I don't know what it was, but like the settings were the same. Like what I.
Yeah, my brother, it's not the same because you're not practicing this.
No.
You got it. You need. I told you 1,000 times already. Get your own Facebook account on it. Go test it, and go do it 5 times in a row where you're recording and making sure your level's good and the Facebook level's
No, but
good.
look, when I'm seeing the
every other day, they keep complaining that the audio's no good, and we are playing commercials.
When I'm seeing the decibels on the screen, that means that's what's.
Don't care, bro. Do the recording yourself and figure out where everything is supposed to be.
Oh, I was told that the decibel, like I shouldn't even have the headphones on. Just look at the decibel
Yo, my
lines
brother,
on the screen.
It can't be that you're fixing everything to the sound, to the second we got to get on, and while I'm on the air, you're fucking with this, and you're fucking with my ear, and you're raising and lowering it.
Well, you said it was
I gotta
loud.
do a radio show. I get it, bro.
Hold on,
but
when he said it was.
You must figure everything out before this. All right, we are back, and we take you, of course, till up to 2:20, 2:30, something like that. We got a lot of things going on. We're gonna have Anthony Chang here at the top of the hour. We're going to talk a little Heat basketball with Anthony Chang, Herald beat writer, and looking forward to the Heat season. It's one of those things where I'm happy we're going to have a better basketball team this year. But again, I'm the guy that lives in reality, okay? And I know this Heat team's really not that good. It's just not. It's just going to be, an average team at best. They're going to be a 7 or 8 seed. Unless Bam Adebayo and Justice Winslow blow up. I know what one All-Star gets you in the NBA in the playoffs. I know. I've seen it. I've watched it. I'll put it this way. Who's better, Wade or Butler? Then go back to 08-09. Same thing. That's all. Roster's about the same. Not that much of a difference. It's really all up to Bam and Winslow. That's really what it's all about. One, he's not a superstar. Wade is. He's an all-star, Jimmy Butler, not a superstar. So I've done the math. I'm pretty old. I've watched a lot of basketball. If you have one all-star on your team, you're lucky to make the playoffs. That's it. You're Mitch Richmond. You know what I'm saying? You can somehow sneak in the Sacramento Kings for a round and get your ass bounced out in the first round. That's what's going to happen. When I hear people go, oh, well, they can go to 3 and 4 seed, no, they got no shot at that. Now, if Winslow and Bam take off, then you got a shot. But I'm kind of expecting them to be decent, not blow up. And that's the problem I have with this team. You know, it's just, and if Goran could stay healthy and be consistent with his health, that would be good. But that's turned out to be a bad deal now the last couple of years. You know, I really feel that the worst thing that Goran Dragic did, and it's, again, he had to do it, but when he went and played with that European Championship, and his body is not made to be wearing and tearing all year long and then also play an NBA season. And that's why he's also broken down. And he plays hard, man. I like Goran the player, but he's not reliable anymore. His body's just breaking down way too much already at this point. But that's why when I look at the Heat season, I know it's going to be a better season. I expect them to make the playoffs. It's the East. They should be able to, you know, sneak in, be a 7-8 seed. Just not expecting anything more. And if I get more, it'll be a pleasant surprise. You guys tell me on the accidentlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105. What are you expecting from the Heat? How many wins? Are you expecting more than a first round trip? Or maybe you're not even expecting them to make the playoffs? You may want to listen to our segment yesterday when we talked about Jimmy Butler's intensity. Because it's great to have it, but it might be a negative for certain players. And some of the guys in Minnesota, they felt it. How is Bam and Justice going to handle when he goes after them if they're not doing the right things? It'll be interesting. Now, someone that a lot of you out there probably thought he was shady. I was one of them. I was never on board with this crap. You know, it's funny because as a father, I'm a father. Those of you out there that are fathers, and we try to give a father credit because they provide. No, dude, you don't get any credit for that. That's your job. You got a kid, you got a wife, you got a house. You got to provide. You got to work. That's that. You don't get credit for that. You don't get a that-a-boy for that, or an attaboy if you want to go that way. That's fine with me. However you want to phrase it. But I'm not giving you credit for that. I'm not giving you credit for protecting your family. I'm not giving you credit for loving your son or your daughter or your wife. You're supposed to do all of that. Because I used to hear from people, this is the dumbest thing out there, right? It's just a silly-ass statement. Well, at least he's around for his kids. You're supposed to. Why? Oh, we're supposed to use the ones that aren't around for their kids as the standard? And so anybody that's around their kids, that's a great accomplishment? No, that's not an accomplishment. That's your responsibility. That comes with the territory. The second you have a kid, that's your child. That's your responsibility till you die. You get no credit for that. If you hugged your kid during the day, you get no credit for that. You should hug him 5 times a day. If you gave him a kiss, you get no credit for that. You should give him 50 kisses a day. If you tell them you love them, you get no credit for that. You should do it 30 times a day. Send it in text. Okay? You don't get any credit for that. You don't get credit for hanging out with your kid. You don't get credit for going out with your kid. You don't get credit for playing catch with your kid. You're supposed to do that. That was my favorite. LeVar Ball. Well, he's around for his kids. Yeah, he's around because he wants to be the media whore. That's what I kept saying. Well, you know that whole thing with the big baller brand and all that went downhill as expected. And one of the business partner of LeVar is also accused of embezzling. Well, the ex-business partner who is accused of embezzling has also accused the father, LeVar Ball, of embezzling over $2.5 million from the family-owned companies and exploiting his own children for personal wealth and fame. According to new legal documents obtained, Alan Foster is suing LeVar Ball, alleging he diverted and spent money to fund his own extravagant lifestyle. Foster was co-owner of the famous Big Baller brand and another sports and entertainment company set up by LeVar and his wife called Ball Sports Group. According to Foster, in early 2016, in furtherance of LeVar's intense desire to share in or rise above the glory and spotlight of his sons, LeVar approached Alan and asked his business guidance on how to monopolize and gain fortune and fame from the names and likeness of his three sons. In response, Alan suggested that the two men brand the Ball family name in order to create a basketball and entertainment-related business. LeVar loved Alan's idea and wanted to make sure that he was the biggest star in the family, notwithstanding the fact that he was broke, had no savings, poor credit, and zero business acumen. LeVar is a liar who fraudulently utilized Triple B and BSG to fund his personal lifestyle, the document said. Now, Foster claims in the legal documents he invested a substantial amount of his own money to launch the brands. The product includes clothing, shoes, and a reality show featuring the family. According to the documents, Foster says after the company started to make money, LeVar misappropriated more than $2.5 million in the company's assets to fund his extravagant lifestyle. He accuses LeVar of spending millions to upgrade the $6 million Ball estate and purchasing $1 million in luxury cars. Some of those expenditures included cars, specifically a Rolls-Royce Dawn, a Bentley Mulsanne, I think is how it's pronounced, and two other vehicles. Also, he says Ball made upgrades to his home, including artificial turf, furniture, painting the home, carpet, redoing the swimming pool, and custom BBB chandeliers, a home theater, and new air conditioning. As reported, NBA star Lonzo Ball sued the same ex-partner, Alan Foster, for similar allegations, saying he took the money out of the company's accounts. Foster claims Lonzo was pressured to file the suit by his father. In fact, he was tight with Lonzo, and the Lakers star often referred to Foster as his second father. Lonzo even called Alan uncle, and Alan referred to Lonzo as nephew. In the counterclaim, Foster says, though investigations into the facts behind this litigation reveal that LeVar intentionally misled Lonzo about Alan's alleged theft of Triple B funds in an effort to cover up the fact that LeVar stole from and continues to steal from Ball Sports Group Inc. and Big Baller Brand LLC, which he uses as his personal piggy bank. Foster also says in the documents, Lonzo wasn't even a shareholder in the company when it was formed. During that time, he claims Lonzo hired a financial advisor named Lamech Humble Lukango, who Alan and LeVar fired due to issues with finances. After the firing, he says Humble sent a self-serving email lodging false accusations that the money was taken from Triple B checking account and that Alan refused to provide a backup of where cash went, suggesting that Alan was involved in some nefarious activity. LeVar and Lonzo were aware of Humble's accusations in the email and never questions Alan's integrity. They say Alan seeks to set the record straight, clear his name, expose LeVar's scheme to cover up the theft of over $2.6 million of Triple B and BSG's money, and hold LeVar and Lonzo to their contractual obligations to Alan, who spent hundreds of thousands of his own money to fund Triple B, BSG, and Lonzo's lifestyle while he attended UCLA before he was thrust into the riches with NBA salaries. The suit is filed by Brian Friedman, and Brian Turner says Alan's approached by LeVar about his fraud and embezzlement. LeVar became nervous, mumbled his words, and said he was surprised and made up excuses. Alan insisted, he says, that LeVar and a sit down and calculate the amount owed to him. He informed LeVar that his conduct was called embezzlement. According to the docs, some of the money loaned to the family was given to Lonzo during this time to make him more comfortable while Baller attended school in college. So there you go. Says Allen says he loaned LeVar, Tina, and Lonzo hundreds of thousands of dollars from his personal savings for various things, including $130,000 on Lonzo's living expenses. Lonzo, in his first semester at UCLA, complained to LeVar and Allen that his dorm room had poor air conditioning and he hated UCLA's meal plan. So Foster says Lonzo and LeVar asked Allen if he would rent an apartment or a condo for Lonzo, pay for Lonzo's personal trainer, including furnishings and laptops, plus pay for Lonzo's food bill. During the same time, the suit claims Allen brokered the sale of Lonzo's UCLA Sweet 16 uniforms and UCLA shoes for an approximate $80,000, a portion of which was used as a down payment for a Mercedes AMG G-Wagon. All of that stuff is illegal. Like UCLA, if this is all proven, UCLA will now get burned for this.
Yeah, because you can't take any of their stuff and turn around and sell it for
No,
your profit.
No, and
That's,
you can't have an agent paying for your
your living off, no.
So now
I gotta say this here.
Again, the guy getting sued for embezzlement is suing LeVar, but there's a part of me that would not be surprised if they're both dirty.
Yeah,
okay?
Right.
Because there's a part of me that says
there's plenty of mud. There's plenty of mud to go around, so they're slinging it at each other. And you know what? When you said chandeliers, you know what's the first thing that went through my head?
Biffy Clyro?
The Duke of New York.
Oh, I thought it was Biffy Clyro, bro.
With the chandeliers, with the chandeliers on the Cadillac. The Duke of New York.
I would go with Biffy Clyro better, man. Black Chandelier. Such a great song.
The only thing that was missing, chandelier. I saw the chandeliers on the Cadillac. The Duke.
Right, yeah, the Duke of New York.
You're the Duke. You're a number one.
Number one. So we'll see what happens with LeVar. Gotta love that, man. That is just too much right there.
You think he's happy that he's in New Orleans and kind of moved on, so to speak?
Yes. Oh, there's no doubt that right now, he's got an opportunity to grow on his own finally and get away from his dad, because his dad clearly is a cancer. I mean, come on. We're talking about a dude that's just a flat-out lowlife.
Yeah, but he's better than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, definitely better than Michael Jordan. I mean, come on, give me a break, man. Anthony Chang is going to join us at the top of the hour, and we'll talk a little basketball with Anthony Chang. We do want to remind you that since 1984, the Big Cheese has been dominating here in South Florida, folks. I mean, they've got employees that have been there 10, 20, 30 years. I got to tell you, it's just amazing, and I am so happy to be representing them again. And all the guys out there, they just do a phenomenal job. The service is second to none. Those garlic rolls are absolutely delicious. You got to visit the Big Cheese. If you've never been to the Big Cheese in Coral Gables, I don't know what you're waiting for, okay? I mean, we're talking about a full-service Italian restaurant, okay? And they use the highest quality for all their products. The pizza's delicious. I tell you about the garlic rolls there. They will melt in your mouth. Complimentary garlic rolls. So when you get in there, sit down and immediately tell them, I want some garlic rolls. The fried mozzarella cheese, shrimp cocktails, the Italian poppers, the fried oysters, the soups, whether we're talking about the Captain's Minestrone soup, the New England clam chowder, all kinds of great salads. They've got great baked dishes, lasagna manicotti, stuffed shells, a baked ziti. It just goes on and on and on. It's an absolutely awesome menu. The chicken marsala is great, the chicken cacciatore. I could just go on and on. The baked ziti I love. Out there, the pink shrimp pasta is so good. I've had that before many times. The seafood pasta, one of my favorite dishes there at the Big Cheese. We're going to be broadcasting out there on Tuesday, the 7th, and on Tuesday, the 21st. So this month we're going to be out there 2 times at the Big Cheese.
That sounds so awesome.
That sounds delicious, doesn't it? So get on down to the Big Cheese. If you've never been to the Big Cheese in Coral Gables, come on, man. I mean, listen, it's easy to get to. It's right off of US 1 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. You want to call to order, you want to call for catering, 305-662-6855. That's 305-662-6855. Tell them that Big O sent you. They open every day at 11 a.m., Saturdays at 11:30, Sundays at noon. They close at 11 from Monday through Thursday, and midnight Friday and Saturday, and at 10 p.m. on Sundays. Take the family, go with the friends, and if you're a UM fan, whoa, that place is like a UM museum. Okay, I mean, it is going to be pretty. It's just awesome to see all the memories that are on that wall.
The first time you go in, you're like mesmerized, and it doesn't stop. Every time you walk in, you see something different on the wall, man. It's awesome.
And you want to get hungry, so you can read that menu, go to BigCheeseMiami.com. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. We talk a little Heat basketball next.
All right. Did you see the song list?
Yeah.
Figure we do it.
So we did Big Cheese.
That's the only one you've done so far, right?
Yeah.
And we got the commercial in the Toyota. So
Yep.
next will be Acura in choice. Holy dude, you freaked me out when it was like, wait a minute, man. Look, I loaded that shit in here. Oh, and I did figure out how to get to the second side of this. That's over here, and then you go here. Oh, I can't because I'm on the first.
All right, go ahead, start getting Anthony on.
Do you like that? Anthony, how you doing? It's Bill from the Big O Show. How you doing, man? Not too bad, bud. You ready to join us? Fantastic. Give us about a minute to get you up Bluetooth on the board, and we'll be on with the Big O, okay? Thank you for joining us today, man. Have a good one, bud. Okay, he's connected. Did you hear him?
Ready?
Just point.
All right, we are back. We're ready to start the second half of the podcast. Broadcast, baby, in studio today. We'll be at Hialeah Park tomorrow. And if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. All right, I promised you we're going to talk a little Miami Heat with my man Anthony Chang, Heat beat writer for the Miami Herald. You can follow him like I and so many others do at Anthony_Chang. Anthony, how you doing, my man? You doing all right?
I'm doing good. Getting used to the grind of the season again.
What? Well, I would imagine you got to be almost tired right now because you've been up since what 3:30 in the morning, right? You're like Jimmy Butler, right? Because see, dude, if you're gonna be a beat writer on this team now, your ass now has to show up at 3:30 because if Jimmy's there, then the people that cover the team have got to be there at 3 o'clock, bro. So you got to go to sleep at 6:30 every day too, man. Yeah. Did anybody ask him? Does he fall asleep during games? Because if he's going to sleep at 7, and hell, when he's on West Coast games, his body's all screwed up by that time. In fact, Anthony, I was thinking of I need to go down to the BB&T Center, and maybe we need to petition the Panthers to play at 3 in the afternoon to accommodate Jimmy Butler so he can watch the games. Oh, oh, hey, listen, I know it's an on-demand world. That's why we're blowing up here, bro. I mean, I would have never been able. Yeah, no, because I would have never been able to do this 5, 10 years ago. What I'm doing now, and this has been just an absolute blessing. The way this thing has exploded. So I have realized it's an on-demand world, dude. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I can see where Jimmy's thinking, but man, that is to go to sleep at 6:30 or 7. Not even old people go to sleep that early, bro. I mean, old people, it's like 8 or 9 for them. 6:30 or 7. I would hate to do that, bro. I would feel like I would miss so much in the world. Yeah, wow. I mean, that's some crazy stuff. Now, one of the things that I was talking about yesterday, and I'm sure you've thought about it, and others have too. Do you think his intensity might be a little too much for the players? Is there because you saw that in Minnesota that was an issue. Obviously, Chicago, the young guys couldn't handle him a little bit there. And even he had, I don't know, I wouldn't say a run in or anything, but he wasn't necessarily always happy with the role in Philadelphia, not necessarily with the players. But he is an intense dude. How is that going to go off in that locker room, you think? I think that Winslow's not going to have an issue with it because I think Winslow has dog in him. We saw it 2 years ago in the playoffs. I don't know how Bam is, and maybe some of the other guys. You're around them all the time. Is there a guy in that locker room that maybe might be a little sensitive? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anthony Chang, he beat writer for the Miami Herald, joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chang. And Anthony, when we look at what are the expectations? Okay, for me personally, dude, I think it's a 7 or 8 seed. That's been the math in this league. You got an all-star, one all-star. That's, you know, listen, when they had just Dwayne Wade in 08 and 09 before 10, that's what they did. They were able to get to the first round, and that's it. And I don't think they're going to be much more than that unless Winslow and Bam blow up and one of them gets to borderline all-star. I'm not saying that any of those guys all-stars, but one of them needs to be at least a borderline all-star if they're going to make an impact. How are you viewing this team? What's the best case scenario and worst case scenario for you? Oh. But the Nets, but dude, the Nets were a playoff team without Kyrie, so they were better than Miami as it is. And then you add Kyrie, and you add. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, they added also the big man, the guy from the Clippers. What's his name? You know who I'm talking about, bro. Whatever, forget the brain fart, but you know who I'm talking about. So they. How about Toronto? Why are they better than Toronto? Or why are they even equal? For sure, dude. Not that deep run, but they're way better than Miami, my brother. Way better than Miami. They have. Now, I'll give you the Magic too. I think the Magic are better than Miami too. Oh yeah. But see, here's where you and I differ. There are no question marks about the Nets. They're an up-and-coming team. They're well coached. They're deep as a young squad, and they added 2 guys that should make them even better than they were, and they were already better than Miami. Toronto, even without Kawhi, they got enough talent there that's better. Their tall, long, lanky guy is better than Miami's. Better than Bam. And they've got the other kid that can shoot, and then the Ogunye or Ogolier or whatever. What was the name of that kid? That kid can play. What's his name? No, not Lowry. The other one, the young kid, OG. That's it. Yeah. No. Siakam is better than Bam. Okay. And then they have the OG kid. That kid. That. Yeah, I love that kid. That's a nice. To me, there are actually. That's where you and I differ, because I say Brooklyn, Toronto, and Orlando, in my eyes, are clearly better than Miami. For sure, Boston's deeper than Miami, and maybe now without Kyrie, because see, I was laughing at Kyrie the other day when he was trying to explain what didn't happen at how he failed in Boston, and he made all these other excuses when in the end he's not a number one. He's a Robin. He's not a Batman. That's why it failed in Boston, because he's not Batman. He's Robin, and that's why when Durant gets healthy next season, he will be in the role he belongs, because he's not a number one guy. You know what I mean? But Boston without him may be a better team now because everybody can kind of settle in their roles. Yeah, no, Boston's loaded, man. They should be good. Okay, so then you're expecting Bam to take that next step then, right? Because I'm not going to say Winslow, I'm going to say Bam. That's my guess. Go ahead, you tell me. Oop, you broke up there, Anthony. Say that again. Anthony? Wait a minute. I think we lost Anthony. There we go. Anthony, you there? Go ahead. Say what you said about Bam. Go ahead. Anthony Chang, joining us from the Miami Herald, does an excellent job of covering the Heat on a daily basis. Now, I put the pressure more on Winslow and on Bam, Anthony, but I gotta admit, now I don't want to get crazy about this. I really love what I saw from Tyler Hero in the Summer League. So I know it's the Summer League, but I love the kid's moxie. I love his IQ on the court, which was really huge because he has, he has vision and he has anticipation. He can pass, all of that. I really like what I saw from the kid, but it's so unfair, as you know, Anthony, to put any kind of expectations on a rookie. But what are we expecting from Tyler Hero? Because I kind of feel like you might get a little something out of him. Anthony, when they made this trade, right, the one thing that I would tell Heat fans, and I want you to tell me why I might be completely off here. I know they're a better team but I don't think they're that much better than they were last year because, and you just talked about it, they lost Jay Rich and they lost D Wade. If you put their stats together, they kill Jimmy Butler. And so how does Jimmy Butler replace both those guys? You know what I'm saying? And then you also lost Hassan Whiteside. But at least with the Whiteside thing, I'm expecting with more minutes for Bam and Olynyk, you'll kind of make up for it anyways there in that loss. But how does Jimmy make up for two players that you lost? And you might be better in crunch time, but are you better for 48 minutes overall, adding the one for the two? I was just looking at it's accidentlawfirm.com text line because that's really important for him. Yeah, but but Doggy, wait a minute. Can he stay healthy? that's the problem with Goran now. That's a big if now. That's like saying Devontae Parker is staying healthy the last couple of years. And I got to tell you something, Anthony. Since he went with what is it, Slovenia? What's his country again? Slovenia. Since he went to that competition in Europe a couple of years ago, and he broke down after that, he has been breaking down since. And to me, that was like the watershed moment of his latter part of his career, and he has become injury prone since that time, and he has just not held up. And it's nice to say if he's healthy, but that's become a problem now. He doesn't. It's Dion Waiters. He doesn't stay healthy. Anthony, uh, Anthony, one of the things that last year Spo obviously had a bunch of Malox moments is that the poor man had to figure out, all right, I got to get Whiteside time, and I got Bam, I got Olynyk, all that. Now he doesn't have that issue anymore, but he does have a new issue, and we were just talking about him, and that is Goran Dragic and Justice Winslow, point guard. What the hell's going to happen? Come on, you have all the answers, dude. Let's go answer it right now. What's going to happen at point guard? Any chance that Goran's traded by the trading deadline, since it is an expiring contract? They might be, and they've traded away their first and second round picks for the next 67 years, so maybe they can get a damn pick back. Yeah. All right, Anthony, we'll wrap it up with this. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald, covering the Miami Heat on a daily basis. He's getting to camp every day at 3 o'clock, beating Jimmy there in the morning. All right, who's the guy we haven't talked about that Heat fans should be talking about? Heat fans will see, because you think he is going to help out one way or another as a starter, bench guy. Who's the guy we need to be focused on? Is there a name on this team? Right, let's just give his ass a parachute since he gets up so high. That way when he comes down, it's, you know, it's just a nice soft landing for him. That's it. That's all we got to do. A little parachute action, man. That's it. Anthony Chang, baby, does an excellent job of covering the Miami Heat on a daily basis. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chang and get his work there at your doorstep or online at Herald.com. Anthony, thank you for taking some time, my friend. We really appreciate it. And, well, now you still got a couple hours before you got to go to sleep. You're all right. There you go, baby. Be good. There you go. Anthony's always hitting the cafecito. Although the cafecito won't allow him to go, you know, go to sleep at 6:30 like Jimmy does. How the hell do you do that, bro? I don't know. Why do you want to get up at 3:30 in the morning? That's just so lame. There's nobody around. It's really weird. I think you got the phone potted up still. We're hearing it. Huh, Bill? You got the phone potted up. We're still hearing. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, it's just one of those deals where you. Why would you get up so early in the morning? I can't do that. I can't do that.
That's even before fishermen get up. You know what I mean?
It's just ridiculous.
Fishermen don't get up till maybe 4 or 5. You know, they're out there.
We got a bunch of other things to talk about. We're going to talk to George Richards at 1:40. He, of course, covers the Panthers on a daily basis, so we'll have a little fun with George. You know where I always have fun? That's at Caneswear, baby. Brett and all the amazing people at Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. It's more than a store. It's an experience, because you go there and you'll see autographed stuff. You'll see all kinds of jerseys. You'll see those classic starters jackets, you know, the ones that 2 Live Crew used to wear back in the day. You can get them, man. The green one, it is so cool. Those jackets, those starters jackets are awesome. They've got t-shirts, all kinds of Canes t-shirts. In fact, they've got over 100 different Canes t-shirts. Imagine, you can wear a different Canes t-shirt for more than 3 months. It's a beautiful thing. They've got the largest selection of items from Adidas, including all the team sideline apparel like jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and it's the only place to get these brands in one spot. Adidas, Columbia Starter, Dime Life, Donation, Top of the World, Hook and Tackle, and of course Caneswear exclusives, which are so sweet. In fact, Bill was wearing the Manny Diaz County shirts the other day. Hey, you got tailgating needs? They've got you covered. If you're like me, you bleed orange and green. Go to 2511 South University Drive in Davie, baby. Caneswear. That's right. That's the spot where fans like me shop. And go to caneswear.com. $99 and over, you will get free shipping. Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we will continue the program. We'll get ready for a little George Richards action. And when we do come back, we will talk about the Panthers, and we'll talk about an injury to a broadcaster. Interesting. Sidelining a broadcaster for an injury. That's interesting. Back with more.
You.
All right, we are back and ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready for a little George Richards action in a couple of minutes. He will join us at 1:40. So we'll talk a little Okie as the Panthers are ready to open the season against the Lightning. I am jacked, man. I mean, listen, I'm always jacked about Panther season, and I know it's been a disappointment in recent history here, but they finally they have to get it done this year. This is it. There are no more excuses. None. You can't say you lack this, you lack that. Okay? The only thing that can take these guys completely out of whack is a whole bunch of injuries. Outside of that, they've got enough scoring. They're one of the best power plays in the league last year, as it is. Now they've got the goalkeeper. They may not be as strong defensively, but they're a little better overall, and they got a Hall of Fame coach. So it's over. That's it. We gotta. The real question is, who goes deeper in the playoffs? Okay, you see it on our screen there, the accidentlawfirm.com text line. Send it in, 786-322-1105. Who goes deeper into the playoffs? The Panthers or the Miami Heat? That is the question. Because the Panthers rarely ever make the playoffs as it is. I know the Heat, as of the last couple of years, they've been kind of shady, but overall they most of the time do make the playoffs under Pat Riley. So they're supposed to make the playoffs. They've got Jimmy Butler this year. The Panthers better make the playoffs now because there's no excuses for anything whatsoever.
Remember the last time we made the playoffs, 105 points. We won our division, and we were in and we were out.
Out, right.
Was it the Islanders?
Yeah, but the Islanders were experienced. I think that was their third straight year being in the playoffs that year. That was Florida's first. They were young for that group there because they had been in the playoffs a few years before, but that was the Fleischman and...
We actually got to the second round, and I think it was New Jersey.
No, I don't think they got to the second round. I don't think they've been to the second round in a long time. No, I think they got eliminated. The Fleischman team also
maybe it
got
was it was New Jersey, right?
Might have been, I think New Jersey eliminated.
It was 2-2 in Game 5. We were up by 2 or 3.
I don't remember now.
We were up by 2 or 3 goals, and they came back and beat us.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure they did not advance. They haven't been in the second round in a long time, bro. But yeah, they did make it, but it wasn't this young team. When the young team made it a couple years back, they got eliminated because, hey, it was their first go-around. They weren't great defensively. They weren't great behind the pipes. You know, they haven't been great behind the pipes. As much as I like Luongo, and he's a really nice guy, and he's a great follow on Twitter and all that good stuff, he's not a good goaltender anymore. He's just not the answer. He hasn't been the answer for the last few years. And unfortunately, the Cats, he had that long-ass contract that hasn't ended, and they've hung on to him a little too long, and they couldn't find the young guy that they needed to bring up. Now they've got a kid, but he's still not ready yet, and to their credit, they haven't rushed him. And now they've got the Russian, so they don't have to rush him. And hopefully he can learn from the veteran and become that guy, because he should start 15, 20 games this year, filling in, and give the veteran some rest and keep him fresh, obviously, for the playoffs. But it'll be interesting. Maybe we'll put a poll question up here on Twitter on who is going deeper into the playoffs this year. Although I will say this, the cool part is that we actually may have both of our winner teams in the playoffs. That's pretty awesome. That's a lot of fun, okay? We're going through a really tough Dolphin season. We know they're not going to go to the postseason, okay? So it would be nice if, and listen, the Canes right now aren't instilling a lot of talent. Right now they're looking like they're headed for another Poulon Weed Eater Bowl, right? Where they're going to go to Boise or Detroit or something for a bowl game. It doesn't look like they're going to get a quality bowl game at this moment. Things can change. Let's hope they do. But at the moment, it's not looking that way, okay? So it would be really, really nice if the Panthers and the Miami Heat both make the playoffs. It would be nice if they both can get through a round. I can't see the Heat doing it, but the
George,
Panthers,
how you doing? It's Bill from the Big O Show.
It's weird how we could go from
Very
the
good,
Panthers
sir. You ready to
not
join
being
us?
a playoff team, not having any
Fantastic.
kind of
Give me 1 second to
confidence in
Bluetooth
them,
you up,
all of that,
and you'll be
to
with the
then
Big O.
going
Thank
to,
you for
okay,
joining
yeah,
us
they
today,
should
man.
make the
Appreciate
playoffs,
it.
And you know what? They
Hold on
should
1
go a round in at least. So expectations should be there for them. All right, we are, as promised, we told you we're going to talk to George Richards. Does an excellent job for The Athletic covering your Florida Panthers and my Florida Panthers. I am absolutely psyched about the Panthers tonight. Follow him on Twitter at George Richards. Catch his exceptional work at The Athletic. For like $4 a month, you can get the coverage of all your local teams and the entire country, baby. Hundreds and hundreds of writers right in your pocket, man. Right there at your disposal. Most of all, you get George Richards, which is a beautiful thing. Right, George? I would call it beautiful. I call it beautiful. I call it beautiful. I am doing great, not better than you. You probably had Burns Steakhouse last night or something like that, right? You probably went to the damn dessert room and all that. I hate you for that. You probably did it, didn't you? You were at Burns. No? Oh, okay. All right. So you did. Oh, well. Okay, no, but you went last week, so there, it makes sense. Isn't that the greatest dessert room on the planet, right? That is the greatest dessert room, right? Right, no, I mean, the whole place is awesome. Yeah, nope. I mean, when they hand you a menu with like 300 different desserts, you're like, how the hell do you even come up with 300 different desserts? What the hell is that? And all those booths up there. Yeah, nice job by you, man. What do you? I always have the Chateaubriand there. To me, that's the greatest steak on the planet. How about you? Okay, all right. I love that place. Do you get the tour, or you've gone so much you don't get the tour anymore? Yeah, me neither. Right. Yeah. Usually what you do is you're just eating bread while everybody else is touring. That's usually what happens to me now, because I don't do the tour anymore. I just let everybody else go to the tour, and I sit there and dip the bread inside the escargot sauce, because I love that. Oh, the escargot is so good there at Burns Steakhouse. There you go. Yeah, and Burns. Yeah, Burns owes us a couple of bucks here for giving them a plug. Anyway, follow my man George on Twitter at George Richards. All right, George, I am pumped. I'm psyched. I should be, right? I should be like, I should feel like we're going to watch these guys finally cross that threshold, right? I just was waiting for Q to say, well, I just have a dream of a parade down Sunrise Boulevard. You know what I mean? Since, hey, but the owners for the Panthers acquired their Pat Riley, dude. And that's what Mickey Arison did years ago, over a quarter century, where he said, you know what, I'm buying this, I'm taking over this team. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy the best coach in the business. I'm going to bring in Pat Riley, and everything changed. And with Quenneville, that's what we should feel like right now, because it's a Hall of Fame, it's a Pat Riley-like coach that has taken over for the Panthers. I need it, man. I need it. I've been waiting this for a while. I'm waving my Panthers flag right now in the studio, so you can see it. I am so jacked about this, because we've been talking about this for a while. We've been talking about what they need, what they needed to get, what they needed to get over the top. We're all the GMs. Oh no, they need a real goaltender. They need some scoring. Well, they got all of that now at this point. So you tell me now, what has changed that when you watch Quenneville, you've been around this team, you've seen several coaches now, so you've gotten a taste of all, and you went to Columbus and covered a different type of hockey team there too at the same time. So you tell me, when you watch Coach Q, what tells you that they are going to be a different team when we see them take the ice? Who's the player too you feel is going to benefit the most from having Quenneville here, and we're going to hear his name more often? All right, and we're talking with George Richards, of course, from The Athletic. All right, so you're telling me it might take a couple weeks. Dude, I want an ass kicking of the Lightning tonight. I want to hand the Lightning their ass tonight. Come on. Wait a minute. You said that there's going to be loss. They're going to lose. That's just an accept. Can't they go 82-0? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. So how are they going to handle the goalkeeping? Who's going to be? Is it going to be the youngster for real? Going to be the backup? Is he going to get the playing time behind the stud, or what's going to happen? What is it? 12 to 20 games the kid will play? Is that somewhere in that neighborhood? Yeah, because really, in the end, we can't answer that question until we see what Sam does. Because if Sam in the regular season is kicking ass and picks up where he left off in the preseason, then they can rest, Bobrovsky for 20 games. Because that would be the best case scenario, that the youngster's kicking ass to the point that you can keep your goalie, your starter, nice and fresh for the playoffs, because, hey, you've got a youngin that really can handle himself. That would actually be the most beautiful situation on the planet. Yes. Yes. Well, 6.5 goals is the over and under. Where am I going on my wager? That's what I said. I can't wait to have their atmosphere, because if you and I know if the Panthers take off, I mean it'll be hard to have the atmosphere because they've done such a nice job of building those bars right around the arena, so they've been able to really help it out. But you know how it was in the mid '90s. There was a buzz. It was fun in this town. If the Panthers win, I think hockey's just one of those things that becomes a lot of fun to watch and follow. And it's so new to so many people at the same time. And we've had, hell, you think about it, George, how much turnover in our town from the mid '90s till now. There are a ton of people that never experienced what we experienced in the mid '90s with the Panthers. And hell, I remember I was a beat guy in those days, and I would walk out of Pompano, and there were 300 people outside waiting for autographs. So I think if they win, I'm not saying we'll get their kind of atmosphere, but I think the atmosphere will get so much better for the Panthers and around the arena and everything. George Richards from The Athletic joining us. George, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time and talking a little Panthers. Should be a lot of fun tonight, man. We'll catch up next week. You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. George Richards from The Athletic. Make sure you follow his coverage, and if you can, get The Athletic. It's $4 a month. You get everything. You get the Canes, you get Manny, you'll get Chris Perkins with the Dolphins, you'll get Andre. We had him on yesterday doing the Marlins. You get George. I mean, come on, man. You get all the coverage of all your local teams. And then you get all the national stuff. It's like $4 a month. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I really am going with the under tonight. I wanted to ask him just to get his thoughts, because obviously he knows more hockey than I do. I'm no hockey maven or anything. But I saw 6.5 goals, and I go, wait a minute. Unless Vegas thinks that what George says, that maybe first game's sloppy and they allow a couple greasy goals in there. But I was thinking of going on the under, because Bobrovsky, I think, is going to be jacked right now because he's with the new team and he wants to kind of set the standard. And I think the Panthers are going to be jacked too. To like, okay, we have arrived. We got our coach. And hopefully Quenneville has done a nice job of building their confidence up too. Because I'm sure when you get there, you're kind of breaking them down, and you're like what the Heat did right now to James Johnson. Everybody reported at camp, and then the conditioning test comes, and he wasn't up to snuff, and it's like, yo, dude, you're not in condition. Get out. When you get in condition, come back. That's the message you send early on. Once the season rolls around, it becomes more of an embracing message, and let's get it going. So hopefully Quenneville has done all the breaking down that he did, and now he's been building everything up the last couple of weeks, and now we have a crescendo leading into the season. Would be really nice if we're able to do that. Matt Shodell from Kane Sport is going to join us in a couple of minutes. He'll join us in 4 minutes, actually. He'll join us right after the break. We'll have a break here at the top of the hour, and then he'll join us right after that. Lorenzo Lingard, their 5-star recruit, the running back, coming back from major injury, has been practicing for weeks now. Had a little concussion in practice a week and a half ago. Has not been able to make a debut. Is number 3 on the depth chart. The family is bitching. The rumors are, according to Manny Navarro from The Athletic, he broke the story that he could be transferring, could be headed to that transfer portal. So we're going to talk to Matt Shodell. who covers the Canes on a daily basis for Canes Sport. So we'll have a little fun with him when we start hour number 3 of the program. Isn't that amazing? We're going to start hour number 3 of the program. On the other side, we'll take a quick break here. Before we take a quick break, by the way, we do want to remind you that our program is brought to you by Ryan Shantz and all the great people at CBD Coconut Creek, and I've been telling you about them now for a while. I take the CBD Cloud Tinctures. You can do it 3 different ways. Under the tongue, which is the way I do it. You can vape it, or you can mix it with your favorite liquid. And what it does is it makes you sleep deeper, okay? You know, it says quality optimal sleep. That's the fancy way that they use it. I'm going to tell you, you're going to sleep deeper, okay? You're going to go less to the bathroom because it happens to me. And, you know, for those of us that are a little older and the prostate issues, you know what I'm saying? And you visit the bathroom maybe an extra time at night. You're young, maybe you get up once, maybe you never get up. As you get older, you might be getting up twice a night. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you might eliminate one of those trips because you'll be sleeping deeper. And they've got full spectrum water solubles that can be added to any liquid, and it's great for a drink all throughout the day at the gym to support body ability to balance and maintain stress. They've got the Kava Kava. I use that too at times. It also helps sleeping. American Shaman, we're talking about the highest and the strongest quality CBD on the market. Do not get ripped off because there's a lot of CBD stores out there and they're not all selling quality CBD. You want to get the strongest, you want to get the highest quality, go to cbdcoconutcreek.com, go to the website. You can call Ryan Shantz if you have any questions, 954-366-6574. And folks, they've got all kinds of stuff. $10 off any purchase of $100 or more. 10% off the purchase of any 500 tropical cream and large cloud or 300 water soluble. You can receive 10% off. Beauty specials, like I was telling you, 20% off of that. The lotions, the oils, the bath bombs. Your special lady is going to love that. Call them again, 954-366-6574. You can go to the website, cbdcoconutcreek.com. If you have a question about something before you order it, call Ryan. If not, get on down to 1311 Lions Road in the Lions Plaza, cbdcoconutcreek.com. Let me go to the bathroom.
Yep. Now with this shit being up high on the volumes, the little recorder thing, it's really up there.
So lower it. Lower the volume.
No, I did.
Lower the recording level on
right.
the recorder. It won't be.
Yeah, well.
And if you're feeding this through
Right.
here,
Yeah.
lower the source.
Right. That's what I did. I lowered the source. Fucking battling shit. Listen to this. Bob Bing. Go here. Okay, who's this? Matt. Matt Shadell. Matt, how you doing? It's Bill from the Big O Show. Pretty good, man. How you doing? Are you ready to join us? Fantastic, man. Give us a minute. I'll get your Bluetooth up. You'll be with the Big O. Thank you for joining us today, man. Hold on one sec. Thank you, bud. All right, he's on. You ready?
All right. It's hour number 3 now on the program. Tomorrow we will be at Hialeah Park for our regular broadcast from 1 to 4. So come on out and join us, man. We're going to have a great time out there at Hialeah Park. And you can visit us. Excuse me. At
I would strongly suggest you coming out for lunch because the food is,
Oh, the food is awesome.
everything. Like you said, the tomatoes, they even get seasoned. Just a sliced tomato on your plate.
Yeah, so good. So good. So the food is awesome there. And the gambling and everything. And it's also a no smoking casino. So, no, that's actually, dude, that's actually like really cool. Because there are people that like the cigar smoke or the cigarette smoke bothers you.
My asthmatic ass loves that.
Exactly. So they have like a section that's outside for you to gamble. So there you go. A man that never gambles is Matt Shodell. Why did I lose something here on my ears? Anyway, Matt Shodell from Cane Sport, there you go, is always kind enough to join us. And we got some controversy going on with the Canes. As Lorenzo Lingard, his family, they're not happy. And, you know, I like to call Matt because, you know, he has all the answers. You know, they really should make him the head coach and the AD and all of that. Right, Matt? They should make you the AD, the coach, all of it. You could do it all on your own, right? It is. It's kind of like being the president, right? I mean, it's like some people would say, "Well, why doesn't Oprah run?" Why would Oprah want to run, dude? I mean, that would be like the worst thing she could do in her life. Like people that have it made, the last thing you want to do is be president of the United States. That would just, you know, ruin everything for your life.
Unless you're Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, it may not end really well for him. We'll see. Anyway, let's get into it. You can follow him at Cane Sport, of course. Matt Shodell does an excellent job of covering the Canes. And now we've got this Lorenzo Lingard controversy going on. Matt, walk me through this because you're there all the time. You get to see the kids. This is a young man coming back from a knee injury. He also had a concussion, what, about 2 weeks ago, right? It was about 2 weeks ago? Am I correct? Right, because of that. So then, if you're a coaching staff, you also want to pace the kid because you're worried about also he's coming back from a concussion. So you don't just want to throw him out there right away. So now he's frustrated because he's number 3. I don't know how much of this, is it Manny mishandling it, or is it a kid that's overzealous and he wants to get out there and he's not willing to wait the process? So you tell me, what do you see? How do you read all of this? Is Manny treading in some dangerous waters right now because of all this? Because he's the guy. Well, we want people to commit to us and be all about UM and this and that. Well, here's the guy that committed to you, gone through some tough times, wants to play. If you don't get him on the field and you lose out on this 5-star, a kid who, I looked this up, was recruited by Auburn, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, Florida, Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and many others. So everybody wanted this kid. And where is Manny also need to walk a fine line here? Because if you ruin a relationship with a 5-star kid, isn't that kind of the whole thing that's been a knock on this program for a few years now, that they're not getting enough 4 and 5 stars? And the few that you do get, maybe you want to cherish and take care of those? Right. What's the hangover from the Central Michigan game? Because while it was a win, it was a terrible win because they won, but they looked freaking terrible at it. There was no way anybody could feel good, fans, coaches, or players, about that win. Were the coaches happy? Wait a minute, are the coaches reacting the same way? Because I can't imagine a coach. Yeah. Yes. Listen, Matt Shodell, by the way, joining us from Kane Sport, and you got to follow, of course, them on Twitter at Kane Sport. And Matt, a warning sign I'll give you is, and this is a fair comparison, the Miami Dolphins have given everybody away. They got rid of all their veterans. They brought in a ton of young guys because they're mostly young. So you're talking about a bunch of kids that haven't played with each other. They have no chemistry. An incredible amount of turnover on that roster. I don't know if you know this, but Miami is 10th in penalties in the NFL. They're 3rd in the NFL in yards and penalties, only 174. Only Indy and Carolina have less yards and penalties than the Miami Dolphins. I go to Coral Gables, and they commit way too many penalties. And that I have to lay it on Manny. Because when your team is undisciplined, that falls on the coach. And I don't care whether you lack talent or you have new talent or whatever it is. I'm looking at what the Dolphins are doing, and those are some of the few bright spots for Miami, for the Dolphins, that is. For the Canes, that's another one of those disturbing warning signs from Manny. And they never get better. And they never get better. That's actually more disturbing. So he waits a half second to make sure that the other guy's moving. All right, yeah. Yes. No, I completely understand what you're saying. And of course, Matt Shodell joining us from Kane Sport. All right, Matt, we'll wrap it up with this Lingard mess, if it's a mess. Do you think it comes to a head this week? Like, we're going to see him for sure playing this week against Vatek. What's your prediction? You're expecting a win this week? Because it's, I mean, the way they played against Central Michigan, I'm nervous about these next 2 games, dude. They better. Follow him on Twitter at Kane Sport. He is Matt Shodell. Matt, as always, strong stuff, my brother. Thank you for taking some time. I know the Canes fans appreciate it. You got it. There you go, Matt Shodell, man. Excellent stuff as always. And it's a trying time for Manny. Now remember, this is a guy learning how to be a head coach. And like what we talked about a couple weeks ago, he's not a good head coach. He's just not. And that's not meant as a shot. He's a rookie. He's still learning how to be a head coach, how to handle players, how to handle. This is the first time he has to handle offensive players and their decisions and how to play and all of this stuff. This is all new to him.
Hopefully, it's not yet a good coach.
Right.
You know, like
right.
you,
But
we
at the
don't.
moment,
Yeah,
he's not.
that's a fact.
At the moment, he's not.
Let me ask.
His team commits too many penalties.
Yeah.
They're not improving. See, here's where, when we talk Dolphins, right? And I tell you, you watch the defense the last 2 weeks. They got better, right? They played into the third quarter against Dallas. They played a solid first half this past week against the Chargers. The offense showed up. Those are improvements that have gone on as the weeks have gone on. And it's only a month. It's only 4 games. But there has been some improvement with certain individuals. And the team overall, you have to say, in week 4, played way better than in week 1 and week 2 when they weren't competitive in any phase. Not offense, not defense, not special teams. This past a week and a half ago against the Chargers, or actually a few days ago against the Chargers, they were competitive for an entire half. That's called progress. And it's like I told Matt, the offensive line doesn't improve. The stupid penalties continue all the time.
Like you said about the offense, look, the Florida game, they had 8 or 9 sacks. That Central Michigan display was worse than the 8 or 9 sacks against Florida.
Yeah, big time. Way worse. And so these are things, and then you have this Lingard thing now, right? And you're a team, a program that's trying to turn things around. And part of your problem for a few years now was that you're not getting the 4 and 5 stars anymore. So this kid apparently is the most talented one. Hey, DJ Dallas is playing his ass off, okay? DJ Dallas has 344 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. He has played well. I'm not going to say that he is great, but he has played well.
Yeah, well, the kid Harris has also when he's had moments, man.
Cameron Harris has done a nice job too, and he's had a couple of long runs called back. As a penalty.
Yes.
So that his numbers would be better with those 2 runs if they wouldn't have called him back. But again, this is like where he's got to be careful, because he's got to show improvement. He's got to show that he knows how to develop these players. You know, he on defense, they developed under him. They played better, but he's got to figure it out all the way around now. And then it has to send the right message. So other 4 and 5, we're in a different world now. These kids are completely different than the kids that they used to deal with. They're not the same kind of team players. They're not that. They're about themselves, because this world is about your brand and all this other stuff. So you get there and you got to do what's best for you. And look, here's a kid that's already had a knee injury, and he keeps sitting. And if he is better than those guys, he's the one that wants to build up his name so he can go to the NFL. So he has to be somewhat selfish also. You have to a certain extent, also understand what Lingard is going through, because when you're recruited,
he's not looking just now. He's looking down the road and getting in the NFL and get that rookie contract.
Bro,
passed.
Clemson and Alabama are recruiting you. You beat out Clemson and Alabama for this kid.
Yeah, man.
So if Saban and Dabo want him, then
he's elite.
Right.
He is elite.
So you got to be careful. Manny has to tread water here and handle everything the right way, because It's all about the message that you're sending to other. I want Manny to succeed. I am pulling for Manny. But while I'm pulling for Manny, I have to be objective here because that's my job.
Right.
And Manny is nowhere near being a complete head coach yet.
Well,
And this is part of the learning process. And these are the moments, these are the tests, these are the exams. His students have to pass them in the classroom. These are the life exams he's got to pass as a head coach. So he's got to balance this the right way and keep that kid happy and keep him here, so it then sends the message to other 4- and 5-star guys that you're not going to have issues. You're going to play, you're going to develop, you're going to have success, and you're going to move on, if you're good enough, to the NFL, like many others have in this university.
2 points. The situation with him saying to the recruits, remember a couple weeks ago, if you want to go see another school and stuff
Right.
like that, obviously you don't want to be a Cane. We don't want you.
Yes.
That and this situation here, like you're talking, treading lightly, kit gloves. You got to do this right. You can't push too hard.
By the way,
You
the
know.
camera's completely out of whack. I don't know what happened there.
And the other thing, the fact that this portal thing and kids leaving, man. Back in the day, you didn't see this. You saw maybe a couple of kids do it, and it was rare. Now, man, there's a bucket load of kids every year that like, hey, I'm out of here. See you later. Bye.
Right.
Like that is something that college football, hasn't had, like, just the sheer numbers of, dude, it's regular. Kids leave.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's
why
what they do.
That's what he has to balance now. So we'll see if Manny can get it done and convince this kid. And I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't need convince. He hasn't said anything. It's his parents on social media and all that stuff. And so whatever. We'll see if anything happens with him. But you better do something, and you better fix it, and you better get on track, man. Because if you lose any of these games the next couple weeks, people are going to start questioning whether Manny Diaz is the guy for this job. Because unfortunately, the fair criticism of Manny was, you struggled against a team you had no business struggling with in Central Michigan.
Oh, like you said,
whatsoever.
the third stringers
You
should have handled their
yeah.
starters easily.
You had to win that game by 30 or 40 points. You had to spank them and send them home, okay, and feeling bad about themselves. Those guys walked out of there with that loss, and they were like pissed because they had a shot at winning the game. That's the way they felt. And you can't allow, and for the players to feel, I didn't like that either. That Matt Chaudel told me that the players felt good about the win. How you feel good about that win, then you have very low standards. And last time I checked, that's not the University of Miami.
Bottom line, those are guys that really don't care about football, man. And the most important thing, winning and losing. They
Yeah.
obviously, I can I remember the last game at the Orange Bowl and us getting waxed. I was there, Virginia, 58 to whatever it was, and the old Canes players on the sideline, seeing Canes players laughing and joking and like not giving a crap about the fact they were getting their asses handed to them. And you know what? That nonchalant, that it doesn't matter, unacceptable.
I just think it's weak sauce if Brevin Jordan walked in. Oh, we're happy about the win. Well, then you got very low standards. You don't belong at the University of Miami if you're happy about that win. Let me just put it that way. Anybody in Coral Gables, anybody that's a fan, okay, any coach, you're happy with what happened at all at Central Michigan, that's embarrassing. Okay?
Me and Carlos thought
that is about a hair away from a loss. Okay? The only difference, it says a W and an L, but outside of that, it read loss all over its face.
You won on the scoreboard, and that's it.
Yeah.
In every other aspect, you got your
Garbage
butt.
win.
You know what? In all honesty,
Garbage win by the
me and
University of
Carlos
Miami. An
thought.
embarrassing win by the Canes.
Me and Carlos thought they were decent. The fact that you pointed out, and when I saw 1-11 last year, that's a sorry ass
they've
team.
been sorry for a while. They're
Horrible.
Doesn't matter. They should have smoked them. Even if they won 8 games or 10, they still should be smoking them. Okay, you're the Canes, and you got way more talent than Central Michigan. So we'll see what happens with Manny Diaz. But let's see, what else do we have going on? We got to thank Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald for joining us. We got to thank George Richards from The Athletic, talking a little Panthers. Matt Shodell, talking a little Canes. We got all kinds of stuff in today on the program. I know there wasn't, the Dolphins are off this week, so it's kind of a week where, we did a little Dolphins talk, but we had so many other things to talk about. The last 2 days, we've been talking about a lot of the other things going on, because obviously we're going to spread ourselves out and talk about all the different things going on in South Florida sports and nationally too, by the way.
With basketball and hockey cranking up full gear, it's a little shift of gears here.
No doubt. All right, let's wrap it up. Thanks to Bill as always, and every one of you out there for supporting us. We love you for it. We'll see you tomorrow at Hialeah Park from 1 to 4. You be good out there.